Right, just the same as usual, working at your own pace, making sure that nothing is causing pain or discomfort as in joint pain. Muscular discomfort entirely up to you. If you want to keep going, keep going. If you need to stop, have a little rest, a stretch, stop and stretch. Usual props, a band and a ball. If I don't have a band, I can use a strap, a towel, a belt. And if I don't have a ball, I can use a pillow or cushion, just as something softer that I can use for resistance. So if you're lying down, using the mat to help realign the spine. The legs can be bent or straight, whatever feels more comfortable for your lower back and your hips. If you're seated, as usual, try to sit upright as much as possible, making sure that the belly is not squashed by the rib cage, preventing you from breathing into the belly, from breathing in a relaxed way. So feel the belly raising, inflating with the inhalation and deflating, falling with the exhale. So see if I can get into a nice relaxed belly breath. Encouraging the body and the nervous system to calm down. And then as you keep focusing on that breath, you running the usual scan over the body. So if I'm lying down, where is the pressure at the back? Is it even between my right and my left shoulder? Is it even between my right and my left hip? Are my legs in the same position? Is one leg further in than the other? Is one leg more rotated than the other? What about the arms? What about the position of the head? If I'm seated, is the pressure even between my seat bones? Am I sitting in the middle? Or am I slightly leaning to one side? At the shoulders level, is the head centered? I'm not changing, I'm not trying to change anything. Just noticing where everything is at the moment and how I feel to begin with. Is there any tension? Is there any pain, any discomfort anywhere? And then as I feel a little bit more settled into the position, as I feel a little bit more relaxed with the breath, see if you can start to focus in on your shoulder girdle, your shoulder blades. Imagine them like two little cars running up and down the back of the rib cage. So I'm going to shrug them up to the head, pull them up to my ears, and then I'm going to press them down and away. I'm going to shrug them up, and then I'm going to press them down. So picturing them sliding up and down the back of the rib cage, the biggest movement possible, making sure that I'm not forcing, I'm not creating pain. Especially if you're seated, but even when you're lying down, remember, if I exaggerate my position, whether it's pulling the shoulder forward or pushing them back, is going to activate more into the back of the shoulder or into the front of the chest. So see if you can find a position that allows you to work evenly between the front of the chest and the back of the shoulder. So it doesn't feel as if one side of the body is prevailing compared to the other. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And releasing back, adjusting the shoulders, relaxing through the shoulders. From elevation, depression, we're going to go into little protraction and retraction. So I'm going to pull the shoulders forward as if I was trying to get them to touch in front of the chest. And then I'm going to push them back as if I was trying to get them to touch at the back. So I'm going to pull them forward and then take them back. If you're seated, you've got a little bit more space as there is nothing stopping behind you. So see if you can really get that nice opening and closing, moving forward and back. If you're laying down, I can still get that flexion and that extension. I'm just going to try and use the space that I've got. 5, 4, 3, 2, Last one. And releasing back, adjusting the shoulders, releasing through the back. And then I'm going to start focusing more into the shoulder joint. So grabbing hold of your cushion or your pillow, I'm going to place the cushion between the side of the rib cage and the arm. It doesn't matter if it's right or left, we're going to be doing both. So I'm going to tuck it there, not quite into the armpit, but by the side. I'm going to turn the palm to face it towards me and then keep the elbow bent. And then the fingers, if I'm lying down, my fingers will be pointing towards the ceiling at all times. If I'm sitting, they'll be pointing straight ahead to the front wall. I'm going to start squeezing the ball, squeezing the pillow between the arm and the rib cage. Ease that pressure and then squeeze again. Now, same as you did for the elevation depression on the shoulder, what I wanted to focus on is notice where the tension is at the moment. If you feel that when you're squeezing, the tension is into the front of the chest predominantly, what I want is to think of taking the tension more into the back of the shoulder. So can I try and keep the shoulder back a little bit more as I'm squeezing the ball? So can I try and picture the tension right behind the armpit, right into the back of the rib cage. So see if I can keep those muscles, see if I can get those muscles to connect to fire. 5, making sure that the shoulder is dropping away from your head. It's not suddenly shrugging into the head. 4, 3, 2, and then last one, I'm going to squeeze and hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Squeeze a little bit harder. Now see if you can pull the head in the opposite direction. So see if I can, as well as the squeeze, I'm trying to encourage a nice stretch that from the shoulder goes up into the neck. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Stay there. Squeeze a little bit more with the arm. Keep the head to the side and just to start turning it slightly as if you were trying to turn and look at the opposite shoulder. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Returning the head, easing the pressure on the ball, relaxing the shoulder, relaxing the arm. Then setting the ball under the other arm, turning the palm to face towards you. Fingers are pointing straight forward, straight ahead. And then I'm going to start squeezing the ball. So same as on the other side. Think of the shoulder dropping away from the head, making sure that it's not shrugging into the head. And then exactly the same. I can feel that the tension is mostly across the front of the chest. I don't want the chest, I want the shoulder. I want the back of the shoulder to do the work. So can I keep the shoulder back as I'm squeezing into the ball? Can I try and direct the tension behind the shoulder? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Last one. Hold that tension. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Squeeze a little bit harder. Take the head the opposite way. Gentle stretch coming down the side of the neck all the way over the top of the shoulder. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Keep it there. Squeeze a little bit harder on the ball. Keep the head to the side and then turn it as if you're trying to look at the opposite shoulder. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and easing back, releasing all the way back, easing the pressure from the ball, relaxing the shoulders, relaxing the arms. So there's a little bit more activation at the back, and this time I'm going to focus on the front more. So taking the pillow of the ball to the front, I'm going to place it between the forearms. I'm going to hold it in there. And then keeping the arms slightly in front of you. They don't need to be too high, but just in front of you and clearing some space. I'm going to start to squeezing them together. Now, if the ball, the cushion wasn't there, what I would want is for this to happen. So the forearms and the palm of my hands are to touch. So the tendency here is to push just the palms. See if you can think of squeezing the palms and the elbows in, and then I'm going to release. So I should be feeling a nice tension wrapping across the front of the chest as I'm trying to squeeze the ball, release, squeeze it again. Try not to let the tension drift into the neck. And so making sure that I'm not, again, pulling the shoulders up to the head, shrugging the shoulders up to my ears. So if you're lying down, take advantage of the mat and see if I can really relax the head and the shoulders into the mat, and then pressing into the ball. I can see the arms, so I can see if one arm is maybe working more than the other. See if I can keep it even, right and left side. 4, 3, 2, last one. Squeeze the ball, hold the squeeze, and then think of sending your fingertips back. So if I'm lying down, I want my fingertips to be moving towards the wall behind me. If I'm seated, I want my fingertips to move towards the ceiling above me. And then back. Squeeze and reach. And then back. Squeeze and reach. And then back. 4, 3, 2, 1. And releasing down, relaxing the shoulders, relaxing the front of the chest. And then I'm going to start moving into the shoulder joint a little bit more. So pushing the ball to the side, I'm going to start raising both arms up to the front. As high up as I can lift, I'm encouraging the chest to lift too. And then I'm going to bring them back down again. So whether I'm lying down or sitting up, see if you can think of a nice movement coming from the shoulders, from the arms, making sure that the movement is not so big that is creating pain in the shoulder. If the shoulder clicks, as you get to the point where the shoulder clicks, see if you can play with the hand position. So turning it slightly whichever direction. See if I can find a better fit in between the top of the arm and the shoulder socket. And I might actually be able to get rid of that clicking noise. 4, 3, 2, 1. Returning the arms back by the side and then changing the direction. This time I'm going to swing the arms around the side more. So scooping them round the side, bringing them towards the head, and then I'm going to take them back. Try to keep them as wide as possible. So if you're lying down, imagine to be kind of like dragging the arms along the floor. So keep them wide. Just make sure that there is no pain in the shoulder. If there is pain in the shoulder, if there is any restriction, I might need to let the arms come up a little bit higher, making sure that I'm not forcing it. Same if I'm seated, I'm going to try and keep the swing as wide as I can, but if I feel that the shoulder is a bit tight, then I might need to swing a little bit further forward. So making the movement a little bit smaller but still manageable for the shoulder. It's not causing pain. It's not causing discomfort. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And releasing back. Releasing the arms, just a little bit more movement into the shoulder. So you could create just a little bit more activation into the back, right into the middle of the back. So if you're seated, raising the arms up slightly. If you're lying down, see if you can bring the arms right in line with the shoulder. So the elbow is level with the shoulder. Dropping the shoulders down and away from the head. And then I'm going to push the arms back. So if I'm lying down, I'll be pushing the arms into the floor and then ease them back. If I'm seated, I'm just going to squeeze the elbows towards the wall behind me and then come back. Squeeze it and then come back. The tension should be right between your shoulder blades, so right into the middle of the back. And the chest should be kind of like lifting slightly. There shouldn't be any tension into the neck. So making sure that I'm not driving them up, I'm driving them back and slightly down. If I'm laying down, the arms should be pretty much fixed in the same position. So I'm just going to squeeze them into the ground. Feel the tension right in between the shoulder blades. Release and then squeezing again. 10. 9. Notice if the tension is the same right and left side. 8. 7. 6. 5. 4. 3. 2. 1. And releasing back and giving the shoulders a little bit of a roll, relaxing the shoulders, releasing the arms, and then I'm just going to actively stretch across the middle of the back. So raising the arms to the front, clasping the hands together, and then I'm just going to start to swing in from side to side. Pulling the arms gently from one side to the other. Think of a nice stretch going around at the back of the shoulder towards the middle of the back. If I'm lying down, I'll be rolling from shoulder to shoulder, from side to side. The hips are not moving. If I'm seated, I'm going to take advantage of all the space around me, and I'm going to try and pull around as far as I can on the right, as far as I can on the left. 10. 9. 8. 7. 6. 5. 4. 3. 2. 1. And releasing back, relaxing the shoulders, releasing the upper back, and then I'm going to work through the shoulder one more time. So shoulder girdle, shoulder joint a little bit warmer. See if I can work the shoulder just a little bit stronger. So I'm going to press the palm of the hands together, keep the palm of the hands together, keep the arms straight as you can. And then I'm going to start taking the arms up and behind. Then I'm going to take them back, and then I'm going to try again. So if you're seated, the arms will be heavier to lift as you're working against gravity. See if you can keep the palms together and then trying to get them to lift as high as I can. So ideally, I would want them to be behind my ears. Physically, I might only be able to lift them halfway or a third of the way. That's the direction. That's what I'm aiming for. If I'm laying down, I'm working with gravity. So you should be feeling a little bit easier. I'm not forcing, but see if you can still keep the arms straight And then reach them back until you can feel, I don't know, maybe your thumbs are touching the floor. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and releasing down, relaxing the shoulders, relaxing the arms. So shoulder girdles, shoulder joints should be feeling nice and warm. Let's see if we can get into a bigger movement, getting the back a little bit more involved too. If you're lying down, I want you to roll over onto the side, setting yourself as if you were setting yourself before opening and closing doors. So the knees are bent. I'm going to pull them up so they're directly in front of the hips, so the shins are nice and level to the front of the mat. The bottom arm, I'm going to reach it straight forward. So I'm resting on the back of the shoulder, so I'm not crushing the shoulder. And then the head can be on the floor if that's comfortable for the neck. If I find that is pulling down, this doesn't feel comfortable, then I'm going to use the pillow, a block, anything under the head to bring the head up slightly so that the neck is in a better alignment with the rest of the body. Once the body's set, imagine with the top hand to have a piece of chalk or a pencil. What I want is to draw a full circle around the body. So I'm going to start from the other arm, and then I'm going to start drawing my circle. I'm going to keep going round. I'm going to turn my pencil, my chalk around, and then see how far around I can get to. Then I'm going to go back in reverse. So I'm going to try and draw the circle, and then I'm going to reverse it again. Think of the back rotating, so the rib cage is turning towards the ceiling, the arm is changing position to allow you to stay close to the ground and still draw that circle around the body. I'm not forcing the movement, I don't want pain in the shoulder. So instead of holding a piece of chalk or something really short where my fingers are on the floor at all time, I might need to use a longer pencil. So my arm will be just a little bit further away from the ground. But the shoulder is okay with the movement, so I'm not forcing it. If you're seated, exactly the same. So I'm going to pick one side. I'm going to start raising the arm up to the front, and then imagine to be drawing the circle on the side wall. So I'm going to draw my circle on that side wall, and then I'm going to repeat the same circle in reverse. So I'm going to turn and circle around, turn and circle the other way. And then same as on the floor, it could be a little circle, it could be a bigger circle, it depends on the shoulder. I'm not creating pain, I don't want to force, I'm trying to relax. 3, 2, last one. And release it back. Relaxing the shoulder, relaxing the arm. I'm going to try the same thing to the other side. So if you're lying down, rolling over onto the other side or switching yourself around, setting the same position to the other side. So the knees are tucked in directly in front of the hips, so the shins are nice and level to the front of the mat. Bottom arm, I'm going to pull it right through, so I'm resting onto the back of the shoulder. The head is supported on the floor or on the block. And then top arm, I'm going to grab hold of that pencil, and then I'm going to start to draw in my circle around. I'm going to reverse it, coming the other way, and then circle around again. So same as I did on the other side. If I'm seated, turning and taking the arm into that nice round swing, and then coming back. You're lying down, trying to keep your pencil as close to the floor as possible, making sure that the legs are not pulling back, so the movement is coming from your back, it's coming from your arm. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and release it back. Relaxing the shoulders, releasing the back. If you're on your side, I wanted to stay on your side. We're going to work on the hip, work on the legs. So find a comfortable position for the arm. So I feel that I'm more comfortable if I'm tuck my arm around or if I put my arm under the head. So the head again is supported. The back is straight. The legs are still bent. I'm going to get into climb. So what I want is for that top leg to turn out and lift at the same time. So the feet are staying together. So think of your thigh bone turning and lifting. Don't let your hips roll back. Then I'm going to come back. And then again, I'm going to turn it and lift it. And then easing back. Keeping that movement going. So see if you can be aware of the tension into the side of the hip, into the side of the body. If you're seated, you need a little resistance. So if I'm lying down, I'm working against gravity. If I'm seated, I'm not. So I need a little resistance. So I can either use the band, just wrap it around with the legs loose, and then you can hold it in place, or I can just use the hand. So I'm going to push the right thigh out into the hand, and then I'm going to close it back in again. Push it out into the hand, and then close it back in again. So think of attention into the side of the hip that is pushing against the arm, and then returning back. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and releasing back. Relaxing the hip, releasing the leg. From the side of the hip, I'm going to move on to the inside of the leg. So if you're seated, I want you to grab hold of the ball and then put it between the knees. With that leg that you've just been pushing out, this time I'm going to squeeze in. So with that right leg, I'm going to squeeze into the ball as hard as I can, and then release that tension. If you're lying down, I want you to stay on your side. You're going to let that top leg slip down onto the floor in front of you. The other leg, I'm going to extend it away. If that drop feels a bit too much for your hip, you can use something to support it. So I could put a pillow underneath, a block underneath it to raise the knee slightly so it doesn't pull so hard onto that hip. So relaxing the top leg, focus on the bottom leg, the inside of that leg. what I want is to tighten up from the inside and pull the leg up. Then ease it back, and then I'm going to pull it up. So still working through the inner thigh from the sideline. 4, 5, 6, 7. Relaxing the shoulders, relaxing the neck, relaxing the jaw. 8, 9, 10, and easing back. Relaxing the leg, relaxing the hips. We're going to try exactly the same thing on the other side, on the other leg. So if you're lying down, I want you to roll over onto the other side, and then setting yourself into clown. So same starting position, the head is supported, the back is straight, the center connected. I'm going to bend the knees, tuck the legs one on top of the other, and then keeping the feet together on that top thigh to turn out and lift up. It's the side of the hip working, and then controlling it down. If I'm seated, same as I did before, I can use the band, tie the band around the knees, or I can use the hand. So I'm going to resist with the hand, push out with the left leg, and then control back. Push out, and control back. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and release. Relaxing the leg, relaxing the hip, working on the inner thigh. So again, if I'm seated, I'm going to use the ball, squeezing with the left leg into the ball, and then releasing. If I'm lying down, same as I did on the other side, I'm going to let the top knee drop down at the front, to supporting it with something if I feel that is a bit too far down. The bottom leg is long. I'm going to pull up through the inner thigh, see if I can get the leg to lift away, and then ease back. 2, relax the neck, the jaw, the shoulders, the back. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and releasing down, relaxing the hip, releasing the leg. When you're ready, rolling over onto the back, and then still working around the hip, but this time working more from the front of the hip. So if you're lying down, you might want to use the pillow or the ball between the leg and the hand, as it's quite a long way to reach, and I don't want to strain my shoulder. If I'm seated, the leg is closer, so with the hand it's quite easy to press. So I'm going to place the ball between the right thigh and the right hand, And then what I want to focus on is try to lock the arm. So with the arm, I'm going to push down into the ball. With the leg, I'm going to try and lift up into the ball. So what I want is for the front of my hip to activate. So the leg might not even lift off the ground, but what I want is to try and feel the tension right into the front of the hip and to see if I can feel the hip joint kind of like biting, the hip flexors biting to close the hip but to pull up on the leg. If you're seated, you can still use the ball. You can just use the hand at the front of the leg. I'm going to push down with the arm and then try to lift the leg against it. Push down with the arm and try to lift the leg against it. So see if I can find a connection into that right hip. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And relaxing. Switching sides. So I'm going to push away with my left arm. Placing the ball between the hand and the leg. If you want to use the ball and then pushing away with the arms, if I can pull up with the leg. To see if I can find, again, that connection into that left hip. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And release. Relaxing the hips or releasing the legs and then working in reverse. If you're seated, I want you to go into a little lift. So same as usual, I'm going to bring the feet a little bit closer to the chair. I'm going to lean forward into the legs and then a good squeeze from the back of the bum. I'm going to try and lift off the chair and then drop back down. If you're laying down, I want you to roll over onto your front, onto your belly. Find a comfortable position for head and arms. And then connecting the center. Think of the right bum cheek squeezing to lift your right leg up. The left bum cheek squeezing to lift your left leg. So I'm going to squeeze up my right, down, squeeze up my left, down, squeeze up my right, down, squeeze up my left, down. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And releasing back. Giving the hips a gentle shake, relaxing the hips to releasing the leg. If you're lying down, then rolling over onto your side. And in your own time, pushing yourself up into sitting. Finding your comfortable seated position, setting the legs wherever it's easier, out, cross, in front, leaning against the wall, leaning against something to hold your position, using the arms by the side, by the hips to give a little support. And then see if we can try and create space at the front of the body. So I'm going to take a deep breath in. I want the breastbone to push forward and then lift up. I'm going to flip the shoulders back and down. I'm going to keep lifting the breastbone. I'm going to look forward. I'm going to look up. I'm going to look back. And then I'm going to release, letting the chin drop down to the chest, the shoulders come forward. I'm just going to let myself roll the forward, roll down. And then I'm curling back up again. Extending through, pushing the chest forward, flip the shoulders back and down. Lifting through the chest a little bit more, looking forward, looking up, looking back. And then easing your way forward, rounding and rolling your way down. Last time. Uncurling up as much space at the front as you can, lifting through the chest, drop the shoulders at the back, looking forward, looking up, looking back. And then releasing back to the front. One hand to the belly, one hand to the back. Take your bow, give yourself a back on that. Any question or anything as usual, please say. Remember, you need to unmute yourself first.